Task analysis. Welcome back. In videos 1 and 2, you learned about applied behavior analysis, the ABC model, and the technology tools you'll use as a job coach. You understand how behavior works and what supports are available. Now we're moving into instructional techniques, the actual teaching part of job coaching. Today's topic is task analysis and baseline assessment. These are the foundation of everything you'll teach at job sites. Here's what we'll cover. First, what a task analysis is and why breaking jobs into steps matters. Second, how to create an effective task analysis that you can actually use. And third, how to conduct baseline assessment so you know exactly where to start teaching. By the end of this video, you'll be able to walk into any job site, observe any task, break it down into teachable steps, and figure out exactly what your client needs to learn. Let's start with the basics. What is task analysis? A task analysis, we call it a TA, is breaking a complicated skill down into smaller, teachable steps. That's it. You take something complex and organize it into a sequence that makes sense for teaching. Why does this matter? Because the most important concept in job coaching is this. Every employee can be taught to complete job tasks under the right conditions. Read that again. Every employee can be taught to complete job tasks under the right conditions. The right conditions often means breaking the task down so the person can learn it piece by piece. That's what task analysis does. Let me give you an example. Let's say your client works at a restaurant and needs to make a deep dish pizza. If you just say, make a pizza, that's overwhelming. There are too many steps, too many things to remember. But if you break it down, place the square deep dish pan on the prep station. Punch the dough down into the pan with 2 fingers. Ladle pizza sauce on each section. Spread sauce evenly with the bottom of the ladle. Fill a 6-ounce cup with cheese. Spread cheese evenly on each section. Place 4 pepperonis on sections 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now it's manageable. Each step is clear. Each step is observable. Each step can be taught and measured. That's a task analysis. When do you need a task analysis? You don't need a TA for everything. If your client can already do a task independently, you're done. No teaching needed. You create a task analysis when a person is having difficulty completing a specific job task or routine. The TA helps you. Identify exactly where the person needs help. Teach smaller skills that are part of a larger sequence. Track progress as they learn. Communicate with other job coaches about how to teach this task. What makes a good task analysis? A good TA has these characteristics. It's specific and observable. Don't write clean the bathroom. That's too vague. Write spray and wipe the sink, spray and wipe the toilet, mop the floor, empty the trash can. Each step describes something you can see the person doing. It has a clear beginning and ending. You need to know when the task starts and when it's finished. This helps the person understand the boundaries of the task. The steps are in the correct sequence. The order matters. You can't spread cheese before you put on the sauce. The sequence needs to match how the job is actually done at that workplace. It identifies quality and speed requirements. How fast should this task be completed? What does done correctly look like? The employer sets these standards, and your TA needs to reflect them. How to create a task analysis. Now let's talk about how to actually create a task analysis. The most effective method is simple. Do the task yourself. Seriously. Physically complete each step of the task at the job site. This is the best way to develop a comprehensive and accurate TA. Here's the process. Step 1. Get permission and observe first. Before you start creating a TA, watch an experienced employee do the task. See how it's done in this specific workplace. Different restaurants make pizzas differently. Different offices handle mail differently. The workplace culture matters. Step 2. Do the task yourself. Put on the apron, go to the workstation, and complete the task. As you do it, write down each step. Pay attention to What supplies are needed? What's the natural starting point? What cues in the environment tell you what to do next? What's the ending point that signals you're done? Step 3. Write it in clear, simple language. Use short sentences. Use action verbs. Make it concrete. Good. Press the red button to start the machine. Bad. Activate the equipment. Remember who you're teaching. Use language your client will understand. Step 4. Identify natural cues. This is important. For each step, ask yourself, what in the environment tells the person to do this step? Natural cues are signals that are already present in the workplace. Examples. When people leave their table, that's the cue to bust the table. When the laundry comes out of the dryer, that's the cue to start folding. When the phone rings, that's the cue to answer it. Natural cues are better than job coach prompts because they'll still be there after you fade out. The person learns to respond to what's actually in the environment, not to your voice telling them what to do. Step 5. Test your TA. After you've written it, use it to teach the task. Does it work? Are there steps missing? Is the sequence right? Are the steps too big or too small? A TA is a working document. You can adjust it based on what you learn while teaching. Let me show you what a complete task analysis looks like. Here's one for making a deep dish pizza. Task. Make a pepperoni deep dish pizza. Setting. Restaurant kitchen. Materials needed. Deep dish pan, pizza dough, 4-ounce ladle, sauce, 6-ounce cheese cup, cheese, pepperoni. Observable and measurable objective. Given a deep dish pizza pan, 4-ounce ladle, and a 6-ounce cheese cup, the employee will independently make a pepperoni deep dish pizza with 100% accuracy for 5 consecutive trials according to the steps outlined in the task analysis. Time standard. Each pizza should take approximately 1 minute to make. Steps. Place square deep dish pan on prep station. Punch dough down into pan with 2 fingers. Ladle pizza sauce on each deep dish section, 4-ounce ladle. Spread sauce evenly on each section with bottom of ladle. Fill 6-ounce cheese cup with cheese. Evenly spread cheese on each deep dish section. Place 4 pepperonis on sections 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice what this TA includes. An objective that's observable and measurable. The setting and materials. A time standard. Steps that are clear and sequenced correctly. That's a usable task analysis. Baseline assessment. Where to start teaching. Now you have a task analysis. You've broken the job down into steps. But before you start teaching, you need to figure out what the person already knows and what they need to learn. That's where baseline assessment comes in. What is baseline assessment? Baseline is comparing the employee's current performance on a job with what's expected. Think of it like this. You're taking a snapshot of where they are right now before any teaching happens. This snapshot tells you, what can they already do independently? Where do they need help? How much help do they need? How does their performance compare to the employer's standard? Why does baseline matter? Because you can't measure progress if you don't know where you started. Baseline data helps you. Assess the employee's progress over time. Decide what to teach first. Know when teaching is working. Communicate with your supervisor about what's happening. How do you conduct a baseline assessment? Here's the process. Step 1. Set up the situation. Give the person everything they need to complete the task. All the materials. The correct workspace. Make sure nothing is missing. Step 2. Give a general instruction. Say something like, show me how you make a pizza, or go ahead and clean the bathroom. Then step back. Step 3. Don't teach during baseline. This is critical. Do not give prompts. Do not correct mistakes. Do not show them how to do it. You're observing, not teaching. You want to see what they can do on their own, without your help. If they ask you a question, you can say something neutral like, do your best, or do it however you think it should be done. Step 4. Collect data on what happens. Using your task analysis, record what the person does. You're measuring several things. Independence. How much of the task did they complete without help? Accuracy. Were the steps done correctly? Speed. How long did it take? Does it meet the employer's time standard? Quality. Does the finished product meet the employer's expectations? Here's a simple way to collect baseline data. Use your TA and mark each step. Plus equals step completed correctly and independently. Minus equals step not completed or done incorrectly. Slash equals step couldn't be completed. Maybe materials weren't available. Let's use the pizza example. During baseline, you observe. Step 1. Place pan on station. Plus, did it correctly. Step 2. Punch dough into pan. Plus, did it correctly. Step 3. Ladle sauce on sections. Minus, forgot this step. Step 4. Spread sauce evenly. Minus, couldn't do it because step 3 wasn't done. Step 5. Fill cheese cup. Plus, did it correctly. Step 6. Spread cheese evenly. Put cheese on, but it was uneven. Step 7. Place pepperoni. Plus, did it correctly. Now you know exactly where to focus your teaching. Steps 3, 4, and 6. How many times do you collect baseline? Typically, you collect baseline data 2 to 3 times on different days. This gives you a more accurate picture. Maybe the person was having a bad day. Maybe they were nervous with you watching. Multiple observations give you better information. What if the person can already do everything? Then you don't need to teach this task. Move on to something else or focus on increasing their speed if that's what the employer needs. What if the person can't do any of the steps? Then you know you're starting from scratch. That's okay. Your TA gives you the roadmap. You'll teach step by step. What comes after baseline? Once you know what the person needs to learn, you're ready to start systematic instruction. That's where prompting comes in, which we'll cover in the next video. For now, your job is to create an accurate task analysis, conduct baseline to see what the person can already do, identify exactly where teaching needs to happen. Let's review what you learned today. First, a task analysis breaks complicated skills into smaller, teachable steps. Every employee can learn job tasks under the right conditions, and task analysis creates those conditions. Second, to create a TA, do the task yourself. Write clear, observable steps, identify natural cues, and test it to make sure it works. Third, baseline assessment shows you where the person is before teaching begins. You observe without teaching, collect data on what they can already do, and use that information to plan your instruction. Remember this: never use more intrusive teaching techniques than are needed for the learner. Always start by finding out what they already know. That's what baseline does. You might be surprised at how much they can do independently. In video 4, we'll talk about prompting strategies. Once you know what needs to be taught, you need to know how to teach it. That's where the prompting hierarchy comes in. The different types of help you can give and when to use each one. See you in video 4.